Ben, thanks so much for having us over.
Thank you for having me.
Great little place. I love it.
Why, thank you. Thank you. I live alone. I'm like adulting hardcore. You know what I mean?
It's hard to do these days.
It is hard to do these days, especially in LA. They just released a study. They say you have to make $109,000 a year to a 42-bedroom house in LA.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, exactly.
No big deal.
Totally fine.
You might have 5 jobs, but it's not a big deal.
Exactly, but that's fine.
Now, Ben, speaking of having 5 jobs, you keep yourself pretty busy.
So yes, speaking of 5 jobs, I'm an actor primarily. That's my passion and what I'm doing here in La La Land. But then I also I do some like business and mindset coaching. I think one of the things that happens in creative careers is that people don't get any guidance that it's actually a business, and that it takes entrepreneurial skills to make it in a creative profession if you actually want to make a living at it. So do coaching, and I have a background in business. I'd started a couple other companies and teach social media, and I also do a lot with SAG-AFTRA. I'm on the board, so I don't get paid for that, but I like to give back that way.
What made you decide to get so involved in everything film?
The core of it is that I'm just a curious person. So anytime I've been involved with something, even before it was the world of film and television, I'd really like to dive in and learn as much as I can, and then ultimately have just fallen in love with all of the different parts of film and TV, which I think is so great because I love not only the being on set and getting to tell stories and being an artist, but the business side of it and the communal side of it. Like I said, being involved with SAG-AFTRA and the, I guess, political or social aspect of it. And so I like to see all the different areas of anything I'm working on.
Were you always a big dreamer? Like when you were being homeschooled, were you like, you know what? I'm going to make it big. I'm going to be fantastic.
No, not even a little bit. I've always been very passionate and curious. I didn't start acting until my sophomore year of high school. So I homeschooled for 6 years growing up and lived on a ranch. So I was living like in the middle of nowhere with cows and more cows. I'm a champion sheep showman, and I know, impressive. And so acting or that kind of thing really wasn't on my radar at all. And then I went to a big public high school that was amazing. Got a really great education and did an intro to theater class and just fell in love with the community and what it was to tell stories and inhabit characters and learn more about myself through that process. And then studied biochemistry and theater in college, like most kids.
Of course. And
ultimately was destroyed by organic chemistry, which I don't recommend taking. And switched over. I was doing political, so I did political science and theater. And it wasn't really until the end of college that it occurred to me that people actually make a living as an actor. It finally dawned on me, like, oh, like I could go do that. Yeah. There are other people who are doing it, so it must be possible. And came out to LA, and here I am.
And you've got a number of projects that you've worked on. The first one I want to touch on, though, is Gold. You were an FBI agent in that. Can you tell my viewers a little bit about it?
Yeah, it was amazing. So Gold with Matthew McConaughey and the director, Stephen Gaghan, who won an Oscar. He wrote the screenplay for Traffic, and Robert Elswit, the DP, who's also an Oscar winner. There was a moment on set where we were they built a hotel room in like a warehouse where we were filming out in New Mexico. And so we were setting up one of the scenes, and it was the 3 agents and Matthew there in the scene, and then the director and the DP. And so it was just the 7 of us in the room. And I looked around, and I was like, 3 of the people in this room have an Oscar. These are my people. I'm in the right place.
And you'll be next.
Fingers crossed, someday. But no, it was really amazing. It was cool to see people who had such passion and vision and expertise, and to be able to work in that environment. And what I tell people that I think is interesting, though, is that it's not that much different from some student film I've done that has, no budget. What you're doing as a performer and with the filming is kind of the same thing. Now, it's certainly on a different scale. There's much more people involved, much nicer cameras, much better food during lunch. But, the process of making a movie is kind of the same no matter who it's with and how the budget is. But it was really remarkable to get to work with that caliber of people all around. It was incredible.
While it's inspiring to work with Oscar winners, is it also a little bit intimidating?
Yes and no. I think they did a great job of, we're making a movie and that they were passionate about it. And so, like, yes, there was a part of me that, they're filming like, oh my God, I'm going to be saying something to Matthew McConaughey on camera. Like, that's crazy. So, yes, there's definitely a part of that, and I have such respect for these people. But at the same time, we're all professionals. And like I was saying, it's kind of the same thing. I remember I was doing a much smaller project like the week before that was just a couple people and a camera in like an apartment. We were doing this like Shakespeare thing, and the process is so similar that it's like I've been preparing, all of the other things that I've done and felt like they had been leading up to that.
And it's not like you as an actor would change anything you're going to do if the budget's smaller. You're still going to act your best.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say the thing that changes is that you actually get more, the better everybody is around you, the more freedom an actor has, because, when you have these Oscar-winning cinematographers and everybody who knows, their craft and what they're doing, even if the actor is doing something stupid or not helpful to capturing it on camera, they're still going to be able to do that. So there's that much more faith that I have as an actor that I have freedom to do whatever I want, to to move around and do those things that on a smaller budget, when people don't have the same experience, if you're moving around or other things, they may not capture you on camera. So yeah, if nothing else, there's that much more freedom, and gives me a chance to simply be consumed with the character and the story and not need to be thinking about anything else.
Now, that must come into your many roles as when you get recurring roles. Mm-hmm. Surely that gives you a little more freedom. There's a number of series that you come back on and we get to see you again and again. I'm going to say it wrong. Better Call Saul?
Better Call Saul.
Saul, okay.
Yes.
You have come back on that one, and that series, it's got a huge following. So to be a part of that, I mean, obviously it's like joining family again and again. But as an actor, what does that strike in you?
Gratitude, primarily. Yeah, Better Call Saul is an amazing show, actually, and they just got nominated for 9 Emmys, which is very exciting, and could not be a nicer cast and crew. Like, everybody's just so happy to be working, and it's a pleasure as an actor to. It's always great to have a job, and it's that much better to have a job on a show that I personally enjoy so much, and that is so well executed and telling stories in such a powerful way. I've known Patrick Fabian, who's one of the regulars on the show, the attractive lawyer at Hamlin and Hamlin that you guys probably have seen. He's also on the SAG-AFTRA board, and so I've known him for a long time, and so it was that much cooler to be like, oh my gosh, I get to like go work with my friends on this amazing show. And I'm continually grateful. It's such a nice bonus to be able to work on a show of that caliber.
Is there anything coming up that you're allowed to talk about?
Well, the main one that I'm really excited about is a feature film that I'm the lead in called Amelia 2.0, which they're doing a premiere, I believe, in Cedar Rapids, which is where we filmed it, on August 4th, and then other premieres and such to follow from there. But that is probably the largest and most intense role that I've had to date. It was really an incredible story, and amazing team, amazing cast. Similar, we filmed it a couple of years ago, but the post process of films takes a while, and there's a lot of visual effects. It's set in sort of a sci-fi world. It's very much about my relationship with my wife and what's happening to her and all these other pieces. But it was almost like doing theater again, because I was on location for a month with only doing this one thing and really getting to embody a character, which, especially in television and even a lot of film stuff, you only get a couple days here or there. So it was amazing to have the chance to really live in that world for so long, and to get to work with people who I'd been watching in things, since I was a little kid growing up. Eddie Jemison and Chris Ellis and Kate Vernon, these people who've been on shows. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm acting with them. Like I used to watch them in movies when I was growing up. That's so cool. So yeah, that's the main thing. The trailer's out. You can see the trailer online, but that's what I'm most excited about right now.
Being in that character's headspace for a month, do you lose a little bit of yourself and then come back to it later, or does it sort of mold you as a person?
I've certainly done a lot of work on myself throughout my life that I think has allowed me to create fairly healthy boundaries between like myself and the characters. And I'm not necessarily the super method actor who's like their whole world becomes consumed. Like I need a break. I'm like, I was just in it for 12 hours all day. I need to like go take a nap. But I will say that it definitely affects me. And you know, one of the things that I love about art and entertainment in general is that it gives us a chance to look at somebody else's perspective. And so to live in a character gives me a chance to live in a different perspective than I might take, and to have empathy for what is this person's experience, because everybody has their own unique story. And so that's one of my favorite things, is to be able to look at life in a way that I maybe wouldn't have. And that definitely rubs off on me.
That's good. I completely agree with you about how everybody has a story. I know that you have an awesome story about your socks. I know that you have wicked socks.
I really like socks. I feel these make me really happy. Yeah. If you see my sock drawer, it's first of all, I don't know if you guys know Marie Kondo, the life-changing magic of tidying up. It's amazing. It'll change your life. But she has this whole method for like folding your clothes so you can see them all. Okay. So if you go in my sock drawer, you can like see all of the socks as opposed to having them all rolled up, or you can't see them. So you see like every different color, their color coordinate. I'm a little type A. I think for like men in men's fashion, there's only so many ways that we can like really spruce up our wardrobe. So I default to the most fun socks that I can find. And I also have a lot of very, very fun ties. Okay. So I like to spice it up.
And do your ties ever match your socks?
Almost always they match my socks.
Amazing.
I do my best to match my socks and my shirt and my tie. You know, I don't know. It just makes me feel happy.
And you know what? I think that's why we connected on Instagram and why we were able to get together, because that's one of the coolest sock stories that we've heard. It's amazing. And I think that it really shows your personality. You're a funky person, and yes. So are your socks.
I will take it. Actually, and even for Father's Day, I got my dad like a bunch of really fun, funky socks.
Yeah, I did the same for mine. You do what you got to do. Yeah. There's, you can show your style in different ways, but nothing says you're cool like a pair of socks.
I will take that, because the socks in a way are for me, because like even if no one sees them, they make me happy. But then when other people see them and like them, that also brings joy to my heart.
Yeah, I believe it. And when they're scruffy or there's a hole in them, it throws your whole day off.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, yes, there's the point of that there's character there, but
if it's a favorite sock, then the hole's okay as long as you can stand it. Yes. I think.
Yeah, I have a couple favorite socks that are fairly new, but I could see one day in the future keeping them around or fighting desperately to find like an exact replacement pair.
Or like you put a patch in the bottom and just hope that nobody notices that it's that different.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the other thing that happened. Sometimes I have socks that I really like, but I'm sure many people have had the experience where you do laundry and then one of them just disappears. Always. I think they turn into Tupperware, because I always have extra Tupperware somehow. But so I've had that happen. But then I'll have another pair of socks that loses, and so then I'll combine those two and just be like, oh, yeah, no, that's how it came. Absolutely. They're meant to be different.
And see, my way is I always wear mismatched socks, but there's always a theme. So if I lose one sock or one pair, I've still got the exact same pair in my drawer.
That's pretty good.
Right?
I like that. I think that's a smart system.
I think so.
I think people should start to adopt that.
Thank you so much, Ben. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. Of course.